We'll make a quick trip to Bolga, but before that, on my conversation with Joseph, a message has come through, says, ask Joseph to tell us the best way to handle these vegetables in order for it to be safe to consume. And he gave us a few tips: the salty water solution, and wash the vegetables thoroughly in them. If you've got vinegar, all the better. That's one sure way that you can know. Otherwise, it will be good to take a trip to at least where you're getting your vegetables to see the source of water that they're using for it. Let's go to Bolga now. At least 2 people have died, with a dozen others in critical condition, we're told, following renewed chieftaincy clashes in the Upper East region on Saturday. Albert Sori is joining us for some updates on this situation. When I was reviewing the papers very early in the morning, I showed you a picture in the Daily Graphic newspaper about a house, that was burnt. The rest of it is a picture in the Daily Graphic newspaper. So what's the situation this morning? Albert Sori joins us for some updates. Albert, good morning to you. This is where we are with this renewed clashes. Is this related to the chieftaincy issue, or this is just something on the side?
Yes, this time, again, we are hearing that it's related to the chieftaincy issue. The difficulty in categorically confirming that comes because the police up to now have refused to comment on the matter. So we can't categorically say, but that is what we know, that it is related to the long-standing chieftaincy dispute in Bolga.
So what's the reason for the curfew then?
Well, there's no curfew. What they have put in place is security, a team of military and police personnel in the area the night of the clash, and they've continued to be stationed there up to now. People are going about their normal activity, so there is no curfew, just the security presence in the area.
What I read a bit earlier was the fact that there was some sort of curfew from Saturday to Sunday morning at 6 a.m. Has there been any arrests?
No, there hasn't been any arrests as far as we know. Again, just because the police are refusing to talk to the media about this issue, it becomes even problematic for you to know, first of all, what even led to these renewed clashes, whether they have arrested any people or not. We've been trying to speak to the police commander, the regional minister, and for now, they are all refusing to comment, probably for security reasons. But one of the things the police commander has said is that he doesn't want to do his job in the media. That is what he told us on one of the occasions when we tried to get him to comment. So it's still a very difficult thing for us to, tell if they have made any arrests.
Okay. Albert, what's the story that you are hearing? Because what I've read in the graphic says a group of people were returning from the cemetery. They had gone to bury someone. It was when they were returning that without any provocation, somebody decided to just burn down houses.
Yes, what is happening is that these 2 royal families that have been, at loggerheads over this chieftaincy thing, they don't live too far apart in the neighborhood. So you have the security people often stationed somewhere in the middle so that you don't, in case there is any problem, they are able to quickly move in and intervene. But on this particular occasion, what we know is that it was in the evening, and, it appears that the security might have thought that things had calmed down because for a very long time they hadn't seen any issue. So that day, it appears the security was not so tight. And so they decided to use the opportunity to pounce on each other. Now, what we know is that one person, the first person who died, from what I gathered, was killed by a mob. Some even said he was stoned to death. And by the time he got to the hospital, he was already dead. There was another person who was stabbed in the stomach, and he also bled pretty badly. He managed to get to the hospital, but died later on. So these are the two stories that we have. The others sustained various injuries. We know one person has a gunshot wound in the hand, and that is what I have been able to gather. But again, just like I was saying, these issues happen, and what you can pick is snippets of information from the people who live there. But the police are the investigating authority. So when they refuse to comment, it becomes it becomes a difficult problem to tell what exactly is the story from the security perspective.
Albert, help us understand this chieftaincy issue. What is it?
Sorry, I didn't hear the last part of your question.
Yeah, I want you to help us understand this chieftaincy issue that keeps going back and forth, returning every now and then. What's at the center of this?
Well, what is happening is that somewhere in 2015, we heard that they were going to look for a new chief for, I think it was in 2014 actually. They were getting a new chief for the Bolgatanga traditional area. And subsequently, what we heard was that one chief had been installed at the Paramountcy at the Nairi in the northern region. The other one was installed here in Bolga by traditional elders. And the argument became who was actually installed the legitimate way. And so these two people who have all been installed as chiefs are still holding themselves out as the chief of the Bolgatanga traditional area. And up to now, for those of us who are watching from afar, we cannot tell who was legitimately installed. We understand they took the matter to court. It's also been going back and forth and all of that. So that is the story. It's a chieftaincy issue with each faction claiming to be the legitimate occupier of the stool.
Right.
And that is what has been leading to these clashes.
Albert, do you know whether or not the police would address the media or at least say something about what has happened? Because until they do something, they say something, we will just be reporting what people are telling us.
Exactly, Mama. We've made several attempts to speak to the police commander. This is a new person who was recently posted here. And so we don't know what exactly makes him not want to speak to the media, but he keeps saying that, his job is to look for information and ensure that the place is secure and not to discuss his job in the media. In fact, several journalists from other media houses have made similar attempts, and his response has been the same. And it made a lot of us, quite disturbed that we are reporting, issue that has to do with security. We're trying to get him to comment, and he doesn't want to do so. So up to now, we don't even know if he will be speaking to the media or not, because he's not even listening to anybody who wants to speak to him.
So what's the mood this morning? What's the little conversations that people are having?
It's a market day, and the market, one of the markets, is quite, situated in this area where the clashes happened on Saturday. A while ago, I was in the area, and people are going about their normal activity, except for the security presence in the area. There really isn't any trouble at the moment.
Okay.
But yesterday, there were people who had concerns that, looking at how this particular clash took some people by surprise, they didn't want to stay outdoors and, get caught up in the middle of any possible reprisal attacks that may happen. So people still had fears about staying outdoors. There are people who don't even live in the area who were afraid of going near there because for them anything could happen, even though there was security presence at the area.
Albert, we'll leave it here and we will touch base with you when there's any latest to report on this incident. That's Albert Sori there on this Bolgatanga issue where we're told 2 people have died and several others in the hospital. And as you saw in the pictures that were rolling on your screens, Some houses damaged in the process, some things destroyed, some houses bent as well. And the police commander has yet, not said anything about it. He has not told us exactly what is happening or what the police is doing about it. We wait to see if there will be comments from the police, at least from the Interior Ministry, or we can do follow-ups here in Accra to see what we can get, and we would certainly update you when we have new information on this situation.